Following a pair of one-sided postseason losses to the Cavaliers, it became clear that the Raptors needed to make a change, not necessarily to their coaching staff or to their core of Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Serge Ibaka, and Jonas Valanciunas, but to their system. While the Raptors have had a top 10 offense since the 2013-14 season, something wasn't working. Whether it was their over-reliance on Lowry and DeRozan or their reluctance to shoot three-pointers in more volume, every game in the playoffs against lower-seeded teams turned into a slugfest. It took the Raptors 14 games to take down the Pacers and Heat in the 2016 NBA playoffs before the Cavs beat them in 6 games in the Eastern Conference Finals. It then took them 6 games to beat the Bucks in the 2017 NBA playoffs before the Cavs took advantage of an injury to Lowry by sweeping them in the second round. Backup center Jakob Poeltl summarized their postseason problems best when he told ESPN's Zach Lowe that they were working so hard for not very good shots. So the Raptors underwent a much-needed culture change. With a focus on ball movement, pace and floor spacing, 3 pillars of success in today's NBA, they've gone from being a team built to compete in the early 2000s to one built to compete now. The only teams with a better offensive rating in the closing weeks of the regular season are the Rockets and Warriors. The Raptors are holding opponents to 103.6 points per 100 possessions on the other end of the floor, too, making them one of 2 teams to have a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense on the season, the other being the defending champions. From at Hickory High, a visual of how the Raptors' offense has changed from last year, https://t.co/rtdw1cont, pic.twitter.com/ifs1reek7. Lowry and DeRozan have been at the forefront of those changes. They've both lowered their usage ratings this season, with Lowry dropping his from 24.9% to 21.4% and DeRozan dropping his from 34.2% to 29.3%. Doing so has opened up more opportunities for others, such as Valanciunas, who has seen his usage rating increase since last season, and the second unit, which has carried the Raptors to a number of victories this season. It took some time for Lowry in particular to adjust to the new system, but reducing their workload has been the catalyst to the Raptors running a more democratic offense. The big thing was just us getting away from isolation basketball, trusting every single player on the team and playing a style to where we wouldn't be predictable, DeRozan recently told Bleacher Report's Ken Berger. That was the major part. We all agreed with that. It was taking a toll on me and Kyle Lowry to do that every night. Some nights, it was me going out there shooting 25+ times. A lot of that takes a toll. So we needed to find another way to not be predictable and make everybody better on our team. Fueling his case as an MVP and MIP candidate this season, DeRozan has made 2 other noticeable changes to his game. He's dishing out a career-high 5.2 assists per game, and he's having his best season yet from the three-point line. He's struggled to knock down pull-up threes at a consistent rate, but DeRozan has made 35.5% of his catch-and-shoot three-pointers on 2.0 attempts per contest. The combination of his passing and his willingness to shoot from distance should help the Raptors overcome some of the issues that have plagued them in the playoffs over the last 3 seasons. The Bucks, for example, are one of the teams that have had success slowing DeRozan down in the playoffs. Although the Raptors beat them in 6 games in the opening round of last season's playoffs, the Bucks limited DeRozan to 19.3 points on 34.0% shooting over the first 3 games of the series by using their length to get in his airspace and their athleticism to swarm him whenever he put the ball on the floor. It resulted in DeRozan settling for contested shots inside the perimeter against the likes of Tony Snell, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Thon Maker. DeRozan still generates 40.2% of his offense from 2-point pull-ups, but his frequency is down 10.4 percentage points from last season to make room for the increase in 3-point attempts. His progression as a shooter means he can spend more time without the ball in his hands and mix it up enough when he does have the ball to not settle for the inefficient 2-pointers that have played a role in the Raptors cratering on offense in the postseason. It's culminated in the Raptors taking 12.5 mid-range shots attempts per game this season compared to 20.3 mid-range shot attempts per game last season, the difference between them ranking 26th and 12th in that category. DeRozan's passing should also make a huge difference. Rather than making passes out of necessity, DeRozan has grown more comfortable using the threat of his scoring to create opportunities for his teammates. The Raptors have been around league average from three-point range as a team this season, but they have shooters at almost every position who can knock down open jumpers and space the floor for DeRozan and Lowry. That transformation became clear in the Raptors' win over the Pistons on March 7, when DeRozan had a game-winning assist to backup point guard Fred VanVleet. The question, of course, is whether all of this is enough. The success the Raptors have had in the regular season suggests it is, especially when coupled with the injuries the Celtics, Cavaliers and the Wizards, the three other teams in the Eastern Conference that had home court advantage in the opening round last season, have been dealing with as of late. In addition to being healthy and playing at a high level on both ends of the floor, the Raptors have the depth needed for a deep playoff run, giving them all the makings of a title contender. There are some questions, though. As much shooting as they do have on the roster, teams like the Cavs will dare the likes of DeRozan, Ibaka, OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam to beat them from outside. It could become a factor at the end of games, one of the few areas in which the Raptors have struggled to generate consistent offense. If Lowry and DeRozan fall back on their old habits of going to isolation ball when they need a basket. It also remains to be seen how much Dwayne Casey trusts his bench in the postseason. As dominant as VanVleet, Siakam, Polto, Delon Wright and CJ Miles have been together this season, they've outscored opponents by a whopping 22.2 points per 100 possessions, the fifth highest net rating in the league. Of lineups that have appeared in at least 20 games, teams usually shorten their rotations in the playoffs. Not playing them as much would take away one of the Toronto's greatest weapons, but it's possible the Raptors won't have as much success if opposing teams are giving their bench players less run as well. Even so, there's no doubt the Raptors are better positioned to compete for a title this season than they were last season. The improvements they've made on offense should give them an easier road to the Eastern Conference Finals and a fighting chance of taking down James and the Cavaliers if they meet again. Considering how uncertain their situation looked following their second-round exit last season, it's quite the turnaround.